everyone. Welcome to I'm Not a Fan Unless I Have a Podcast. I'm John Hanford, and before we get into today's episode, I just wanted to make a little announcement. This podcast is going down from two episodes a week to one episode a week, just since now that quarantine is less of a thing. I'm able to get out and do stand-up again, and that's my main thing. That's what I'm most passionate about. And yeah, so there just isn't the time to do so many podcasts a week. So just wanted to get that out of the way. I think it's still a pretty consumable podcast. One a week is kind of the norm for most. So, we're not going full Joe Rogan here with, where I'm doing 3 episodes a day. This is, I think one a week is healthy. And I'm just excited to be getting back out on the road to do stand-up. For the time being, I'm mostly doing like private shows in LA. I'm doing an outdoor show on most Sundays, and that's at the Lexington Bar on fucking 3rd Street in downtown LA. So that happens on Sunday nights. It's actually pretty badass because it's like a whole flea market plus stand-up. And then after the stand-up goes from 6 to 8, and then I think there's a second stand-up show that goes 8 to 10, and then from 10 to 2, it's all music. So it's a really weird hybrid of like flea market and rave with a little bit of stand-up comedy as well. So it's pretty wild. It's a good time. So come on out. That's that thing. I'm also going to be in Prescott, Arizona, doing a road gig. I'm going to be performing at, I think it's called the Espresso Bar, but I'm going to be there on October 9th, Prescott, Arizona. I'm going to be touring with my friends Nikki Fuchs and Christy Belich. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to be the one guy on the show. So, it'll be pretty wild. I think that'll be fun. Let's see. I want to, I think that's like all the housekeeping that I had to get out of the way. Now let me introduce today's guest. We've got Abby, who she runs the Cookie Dog 69 Instagram account, founder of the Pie Pie fan page on Facebook. And it seems like, at least this is true for me, I've known of Abby probably for like 2 years, ever since I, joined the Facebook, the King Gizzard fan page on Facebook. I would always see her being the one to be like, Cookie's amazing, or where's Cookie on this album, or, just like, we need more Cookie. And I'm just like, yeah, absolutely. So I've always admired her from afar, just for being so blunt and honest about like who her absolute favorite guy is in the band. We explore that, and turns out we have a lot of we share a lot of love for Cookie. And so it was just a really fun conversation to have. You're going to see it or listen to it right here, so I'm not going to spoil any more of it. Guys, I love you all. Thank you so much for listening, subscribing, following on Instagram at GizFanPod. I am still looking for more guests to record for future episodes, so please don't hesitate if you at all want to come on here and talk Giz with me and whatever other shit. Let me know. Send me a message, and we'll try to set up a time. So anyway, without further ado, here is Abby.
I've never done Zoom.
Yeah, well, welcome, and I'm glad that this is I think this is like a fun time to have it be your first Zoom call, because we're just going to be talking about like King Giz and Cookie and all that. So
okay.
Yeah, and so first of all, thank you for coming on the podcast, because I've wanted to have you on since like. I just think it's so cool that you're like, you basically, because like Cookie's my favorite member of King Giz, and like then I see like all your posts. I'm just like, I'll pick Joey. Like just you can have Cook.
No, you could. We could share Cookie. We could share him.
Well, I appreciate that. That's cool as hell. Um, so so yeah, I mean, like, so how did your love for Cookie come about in the first place?
Well, I guess it's because like when I first started listening to King Gizzard, I heard Paper Mache Dream Balloon, and when that whole album came out, like officially, Time Equals Fate was like my favorite song ever, and I had to figure out like who sung this song. Like they're my favorite member of the band.
Yeah, that's so funny because that's exactly the reason that I like Cook, because that's my favorite track off of Paper Mache.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
and it was funny because like I actually, because like back the I think that was one of the first songs I heard after, or like that was one of the first albums I listened to after initially getting into King Giz, like after listening to Polygon Land. Um, and so I didn't know anything about any of the band, and like I just assumed that it was Ambrose singing because like they have similar ish voices, like in a way there's something similar
Mhm.
to it. And like I actually had a dream where I just ran into Stu and Ambrose at the airport, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be seeing you tomorrow night in Brooklyn. Um, can you play Time Equals Fate?" And they're just like, "No, that's an acoustic song." It, it wasn't like, "No, that's a Cookie song too," but yeah, I just loved the lyrics and everything about it.
Yeah, it's just such a great track. And it just started me with like the whole pipe eye thing,
Yeah,
like when Cosmic Blip came out, I was just like I was obsessed. It was bad.
I mean, Cosmic Blip is. I mean, it's that's one of the best EPs I've ever heard. Because like it is so different from really anything King gives, but it's also like I don't know, like it sort of brought back to me like just the notion that like old like 60s and early 70s like psychedelic music is still pretty relevant. Uh,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it totally is. I mean, if I don't know if you heard those demos that came out. Did you hear those?
no, was this recent?
Yeah, this was like a couple of days ago that someone posted those MySpace demos, the Pipe Eye demos.
Oh wow, yeah, I gotta check that out. Is that
Yeah,
in the Pipe By fan page?
I think it is. It is in the Pipe Eye fan page.
Sweet, I'll give that. I'll definitely check that out after this.
Yeah, they're like so awesome. It kind of reminds me of like bands like the Rising Storm and Index, and it's all like that lo-fi type, like psychedelic. It's so cool. It's definitely worth checking out.
Yeah, and actually, those bands that you just mentioned, I have not heard of them or listened to them at all. Like I mean, there's so many different avenues you can take when listening to any type of psych music. Um, yeah, so that's interesting. So like what era are those bands from?
60s.
60s, nice.
Yes. Oh yeah. I listen to like a lot of that stuff, so
Nice. Are they sort of like along the same lines as like 13th Floor Elevators or?
definitely not because it's like it's based on like location. So with bands like 13th Floor Elevators, and then you have uh, like Golden Dawn and like stuff like that. It's all like you hear the Texas sound, like moving sidewalks and all that stuff. It's like it's all influenced by like Texas.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like bands like a lot of like weird high school groups and stuff like and just they're just very lo-fi like pipe eye kind of just in a sense
Hmm. That's
it's
cool.
yeah.
Yeah. And so when did you because like Cookie Dog 69 that used to be Cookie's actual Instagram, right? And then you just got
Yes.
rid of it, and then so first of all, when did you decide like, hey, I should do this page, and then also like when did you realize like, hey, this username is available?
I guess I just started checking it every day and I was like, wait, where did Cookie go? And his account was gone. I don't know why he deleted it, but so I tried for the username until it was like available
Hmm.
and I eventually got it. And that reminds me of a couple days ago. Cookie did follow my Instagram account,
Uh-huh.
and it lasted 2 days until he unfollowed me.
You know, that's like pretty good because I saw both events in real time. I was like, because like I think it was like the day after like we had confirmed that you're going to be on the podcast, and it was like, guys, you wouldn't believe it, and I was just like, I want to give you the biggest fucking hug right now. Like, it's like such a work in progress, and it's finally come to fruition. And then 2 days later, I was like, I want to give you an even bigger hug.
Yeah, I'm honestly not that upset because I knew it would happen. I like posted one thing about Among Us in my story and he saw it and unfollowed. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, like considering that the only account that he was following anyway was Flightless, and he didn't even follow his other bandmates. Like I was like, all right, I hope this lasts, but you know, I can understand if it wouldn't.
Yeah, no, I was not surprised.
Yeah. And you've met Cook before, right?
I've met him once. Yes, I met him a year ago.
Oh, nice. So remind me again, like around where in the country are you based?
So I'm in I'm in Massachusetts, but it was at the Connecticut, the New Haven show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Nice.
he was like in the back with like the rest of the other bands and stuff. Like it was pretty cool.
Nice.
He was nice.
So it was just like hanging out before the show or
This
after
was
the show?
after the show.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So he's like hanging out like outside the venue, just.
Yes, he was outside the venue with
I
like
gotcha.
the other members of the band, and like my friends and I were trying to meet them all and have them sign our stuff, you know.
Hmm.
Glad I met Eric before this whole no Eric thing.
Yeah, God, I've only met I met Cookie once, and like it was at the same time that I met Lucas. Like they were just out to dinner before a show, and like they were just as nice as could be. But like I've never met any of the other members of the band, and now
Oh,
I'm just like I like I've already wanted to take a vacation to Australia at some point, like whenever it becomes legal again. Um, and like now I really want to go and like go to Flightless 168 and just one day like see Eric there and you know have him sign the albums that that I
right.
got and
Like
whatnot.
now you have to go to Australia to meet him. That's so sad. He better come back for Red Rocks, yo.
I I don't see there being any way he wouldn't come for Red Rocks because like it's such a legendary venue. Like it's like that would be like if you're the head of an indie record label and your premier band is going to be playing like the best concert venue in the world, you're probably going to go see it. I mean,
Yes.
if not be a part of it even. So like I fully expect Eric to be there, which I don't know, maybe that's a dangerous proposition to like have that be such a heavy expectation.
Right. Like I had to play like some songs and stuff too.
Yeah. So are you going out for Red Rocks?
I want to, yeah. I just hope it happens. Like I'm not gonna plan anything yet until it actually happens.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good call. Yeah, like I had a feeling it would be canceled or it would be postponed for a while. But like I still just needed that, inkling of hope. So I decided
Right.
not to get a refund on my tickets. I still have them. I'm just going to hang on to those. I've got a flight voucher from Delta so I can book the flight eventually, but yeah, I mean, and ultimately, because like that's how I decided to start this podcast. I was like, I need something to fill this void of like, you know, like all the conversations that I would imagine having at Red Rocks. Yeah, so like I ideally like I want to have like a whole reunion of sorts, like
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
yeah, because like there were a few people that I know are going from like the East Coast from New York that are going to Red Rocks. Like you know Monty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
So like we were concert buddies back when I was living in New York, and yeah. So like I I've been stoked about this whole thing. Like we've been like planning remotely, just like what we would do, like you know, like around Denver and stuff,
Hmm.
you know, outside of the shows. But oh my God, it's just, yeah, we just got to wait for it.
Yeah.
So when so like switching gears now into like the new album that's coming up, we've heard Some of Us, and like we know that that's a Cookie song, even though Stu is singing it. What was your initial take on that?
But just hearing it, or
Yeah, hearing it or seeing the video, or whichever came first.
well, I did post it on YouTube before it came out, and for like a secret link.
Oh
And
yeah, I forgot.
I thought it was one of the best King Gizzard songs I ever heard, and I didn't even know back then when it was written by Cookie, and that just like totally made sense.
Yeah, I mean, I was. It definitely made sense once it came out that Cookie was the lyricist, because like when I first heard it, I was like, ooh, this is really avant-garde. Like I would not be able to show this to somebody, you know, who is not familiar with Giz already. But yeah, then when like, yeah, exactly what you're saying. Like when, like it just made sense, because it's like Cookie does have like a pretty simple and like sort of bleak outlook on a lot of things, while just also being silly with it. And that's very, like, this is one of the silliest like apocalyptic songs I've ever heard. It's like it's wonderful. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. It's that good.
Yeah, well, and especially because you know, and now that we know that Straws in the Wind leads into it, like I think that might be I think that's my favorite single off the new album. And I honestly think it's my favorite song that Ambrose has written. And it's just interesting to see how it transitions from being, you know, just like a very different sound into the sound that we know Some of Us to be. Yeah, I like it just has me wondering just endlessly, what is the new album gonna sound like all the way through,
Yeah,
you know?
right. Like I hopefully more of like I really hope for Flying Microtunnel Banana Volume 2.
Yeah, I wonder if that's what they're gonna call it.
I
You
have
know,
no
if
clue.
like either way, I'm pretty sure they would probably put Volume 2 somewhere on the album. Um, but it's, I mean, just has such an interesting progression going from like Honey to Some of Us, and then obviously Straws in the Wind in between. Um, like it reminds me a little bit of Fishing for Fishies, just in how they're taking us on such a weird but also linear sonic journey, if that makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, yeah. I'm just like, I just want to hear how, like I want to know how many other songs are on the album, and and just like it's just like I'm just like brimming with just excitement, because it's just such a, like I don't know what to make of anything yet, and I just know that it's going to come out before too long. So I'm just like sort of beside myself. Like I can't really make sense. It's
I'm
uh,
honestly thinking it'll come out in around either October or November.
yeah, I have a feeling it'll be sometime in October, just because it's like typically they release like the final single of an album like the month before it comes out. So
Mhm.
um, yeah, I'm hoping that's what it is. But you know, if I have to wait till Thanksgiving, then so be it. But,
Thankful for King Gizzard.
yeah. Um, well, and so also like I absolutely love your background. Like I said before, in like Inside Outside was just one of my favorite albums of the last year, or of, yeah, of 2019. Um, and like the more that I've actually looked at the album artwork itself, like I see just how much it intertwines with the, you know, with the songs. Like you've got the portrait of presumably Farmer Barnaby, and it's just like, yeah, where does Inside Outside rank for you with like your favorite Cookie material.
Okay, so are we just talking about Pipe Eye albums here?
We don't have to.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll stick it to like Pipe Eye albums. I think my favorite is Laugh About Life because when that came out, like I was obsessed with At the Garden Gate, which is probably my favorite song that he's ever written.
Mm-hmm.
But I do really love Farmer Barnaby a lot. It's just very cool. It's like, and it's kind of sad.
Oh, it
You
totally is. It's,
know?
I mean, like a lot of his lyrics are pretty melancholy. Like, I mean, like, because Laugh About Life was one of my favorite albums. Like, I mean, I think it came out when like 2016 or 2017.
Laugh About Life was 2017, yeah.
Okay, yeah, and because like I only started listening to it in 2018 when I was working, in downtown New York at a job that was just like sucking the soul out of me, and like one of my favorite song, I think my favorite song off of Left by Life was Summer Bankers, Summer Clerks, because it just totally it was just the perfect soundtrack to my morning commute every single day. Uh, it was
Oh yeah.
it was so depressing, but it just made it just tolerable having Cookies sort of narrating it.
Yes.
But yeah, just that whole album was just sort of delightful, and At the Garden Gate is like it is a really beautiful song.
It is.
And also, How Can I Thank You Enough, I think is just like a really underrated song in terms of like, I don't know, expressing gratitude. It's
It really is.
like what a great thing to write about,
That was me for those 2 days that Pipe Eye followed me back. I didn't even bother to call him out on it. I wanted to, but I was like, nah, I'm cooler than that.
Yeah, I mean, there are just those times like you gotta play it cool, like act like you've been there before. I mean, because otherwise, like everything will unravel, and like
Yeah, I don't want to start drama with him. He's God.
yeah, and I mean like so like back, I guess, yeah, this was like 10 years ago. Like my favorite band was Pearl Jam, and like I grew up near Seattle, and so like it was natural that I'd be listening to a lot of Pearl Jam. And I was at a baseball game to see the Seattle Mariners, and just sitting in the stands was Mike McCready, the lead guitarist from Pearl Jam, and he's sitting there with a guitar, and I'm just like, what is this? Like why is like one of the best guitarists of all time just sitting behind me, like just at a baseball game with a guitar? And so I was just like, all right, well, it's not like I'm not gonna go talk to him. So I just started talking to him about guitars. I was like, hey, what kind of guitar you got? And then like we just started just bullshitting, and we were talking for like 10 minutes, and finally I was like, hey, I totally know who you are. You're like my favorite guitarist. And just and so like I had him sign a baseball, and he was like really nice about the whole thing. And I don't know, it's just like it's sort of nice, like, because I guess just like being able to contain my composure around like my favorite person at the time was just like such an accomplishment. Like
Oh yeah, it's definitely like even with when I met Cookie, I was totally like, I don't know, I was just too happy.
yeah. I mean also I just love how like on your like on the Cookie 69 Cookie Dog 69 Instagram page, like it's just you never run out of content to post about Cookie. Like it seems like you just have an endless supply of pictures, and I just love that kind of fandom. It's like he might as well not have a personal Instagram, like
Right? Like, let me run it for you, dog. You
yeah,
should do like write some music. I'll run your page.
yeah.
And I don't know. Sometimes they are kind of like terrible content, but so it makes it fun, memes and whatnot.
Yeah, I mean, like there is something that's just like really fun about shit posting.
Yes.
It's like there's a certain beauty in just having like the lowest quality of things. Like it's kind of the same thing that makes like Monty Python funny and like a classic. Like with the click, the sound effect for the horse hooves, even though there's no horse, just have the guy I don't know if you know Monty Python.
I've never seen it. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
It's okay. But for the people listening at home who do know, you know what I'm talking about. Maybe that's a really dated reference, but um, but it's like super low production value, but it's just sheer absurdity. That is what makes it such a classic. And I think like the cookie shit posting and just like all the King Giz shit posting is just fun.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just it makes it like a more fun activity to be a fan of the band. And because like I'm otherwise like not really a shit poster. I just really like the music.
Oh yeah,
But
no. Well, you do the podcast, so that's like
yeah,
a great role as a fan. That's a
yeah,
great role.
and I mean like I'm spitballing enough ideas out here that like I basically have like this is basically a video audio shit post. It's, you know, like I get weird with it sometimes, and like it's that's what keeps it fun and fresh for me. But yeah, I just I don't know. It's just fun to be creative with all the King Giz, and like I absolutely love you know like that drawing you did of John Dwyer that you posted a couple weeks ago.
Oh,
Like
yep.
that was cool. Yes, I mean
Thanks.
like you're one hell of an artist.
Oh, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Um, so like I would imagine it seems like you've probably been drawing for a while, like doing, you know, like art that you enjoy for a while. Like how is that something that just came to you sort of naturally, or was there a time that you really found yourself
Uh,
getting into it?
I've been into it for as long as I can remember, and literally I've taught a lot of people how to draw, and I'm not that good, but it's like it just comes to me, you know. I
Mhm.
don't know. I'm totally self-taught.
Yeah, I like I'm kind of the same way in that regard. Like I used to love drawing when I was a kid, and then just like I just straight up stopped when I when I got into high school. Just
Aw.
yeah, it was weird. Like I really lost sight of like all of my I don't know, like a lot of my artistic talent when I like got into high school and started succumbing to peer pressure and shit. But then like a couple years ago, I just started drawing again and just like got back into it. And it's been really fun. Like it's weird because all of a sudden I started doing these things. I was like, wait, this is like I think this is legitimately good, and I was just so just caught off guard by it because like I'd gone like 12 years without anything. Um, but it is just nice like when you can find that you do have like a natural talent like that, and it could just come out you know when you need it to. um I don't know, that's
Yeah, no, it's fun. I think it's all fun, you know. Any piece of art's good, you know. Like
Mhm. Yeah.
and I drew Cookie for his birthday too.
Oh, did you? Oh
Yes, I
wait,
did.
actually no, I think I remember yeah, you probably posted it on the on the fan page.
I don't remember at this point.
Yeah, but because you drew the Laugh About Life cover, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That was a very good drawing. I really like that.
Thanks.
Um, but and so uh, so you also work at a record shop, right?
Yes.
So that sounds like a really fun job to have. Like, uh, I mean, because you get to like talk with people about music and like I love going to record stores and like just asking, just basically just starting up a conversation with whoever the clerk is and just seeing like
Hmm.
what they're listening to and stuff. So
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's a lot harder than what people think because people think that working at a record store is the easiest job ever. And yes, it's easy, but you have to know your music, even if it's music you don't like.
yeah, yeah, it's like it definitely seems like it'd be a very hard job for like anybody who's like at all snobby about
Hmm.
their musical taste, and like I definitely fall into that category sometimes and like I gotta check
Yeah.
myself more, but um but yeah, I mean it's and then also I mean it is also retail, so like you're gonna have your fair share of bullshit to deal with
Oh
anyway.
yeah.
um but yeah, at the same time it's like I would have to imagine whenever you're like whenever you do get like a really cool customer that's like having a legit conversation with you about good music, like that kind of makes all the bullshit worth it. Um,
Exactly, especially King Gizzard fans. There's a lot of King Gizzard fans who come in.
oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like, do you, so you guys probably don't carry like Pipe Eye and stuff because he hasn't.
We
He's only
carry
been on Flight List.
Murlocs.
Oh, you got some Murloc stuff?
Yeah, we carry the Murlocs and we throw it in the King Giz. Not pipe eye because it's not easy to get because everything's obviously through like distributors and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, we carry a lot of flightless. We carried Orb, Babe Rainbow, which they're all out of print now, but because they had a domestic release.
Hmm.
Amel and the Stiffers we carry there's a handful of flightless, and people buy it.
Hmm. That's cool. Yeah, I really I mean, yeah, like all those flightless bands, Babe Rainbow is one that I've just recently started to get into. Um, and yeah, I mean, it's just fun to like listen to all those different like different flightless bands and different sounds that they all have. Um, but yeah, like I was wondering like back, you know, because considering that Pipe Eye is such a small scale release, you know, whenever he does come out with albums, like since it is basically just Flightless that presses him, um, like do you gather that uh, that Cookie just really wants to keep Pipe Eye as like this very small side project, or
Well,
um,
ATO distributed him. I remember when I bought both copies of Inside Outside off Flightless, they announced that the donut copy was available through ATO, and it would have saved me a couple bucks. But um, I think he's gonna be available like for record shops and stuff to carry, and I don't think like a lot of the Flightless catalog, it's going to be domestic. It's not going to be very limited. It will be available for everyone. Um, but I just don't know if there is a reissue or not coming out of Cosmic Blip, because I don't know if you saw Pipe Eye's story like a week ago. He posted some audio from Cosmic Blip.
oh oh
So
yeah
I don't.
yeah, like I remember either you or somebody posted just like, "Hey, are we getting some Cosmic Blip reissues sometime soon?" Like, and
Yeah,
I
and
was just, yeah, I was like really hoping, yes, please, because I want that.
yeah,
Uh,
and I was all like, no, 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 because I literally spent $100 on my copy.
oh, yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm glad I did because if I didn't, it's a lot more than that now on Discogs.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
yeah, I have my copy here, or
oh,
if
that's
it's gonna show up.
yep. Oh, that's super cool. Oh, so you still got it in the shrink wrap and everything.
It's in the shrink, but I have it in a sleeve too, so
Nice.
it's not sealed. I play it. I enjoy my records. I don't I don't
Okay.
waste them.
Yeah, I do the same thing. Like if the record comes in a sleeve, I'll keep it in there. You know, just because like I don't
Yeah.
like oh beautiful, yeah. Like I, you know, because I grew up playing like my parents' records and just like a lot of these old Beatles records and stuff that are just, you know, beat to hell, and like I don't want that to happen. You know, to like all my Giz records and the other ones that I got too.
Oh
Um,
no, if you treat them right, they'll be fine.
yeah. Yeah, I just got to get like a better record cabinet because right now they're sitting in an Amazon box and that's not great.
Aw.
It's like not a great aesthetic that I want in my living room, but yeah, I just got to see what, you know, I got to find the right piece of furniture at the thrift store. But um,
Record
uh,
cabinets, like they're easy to find. You'll get one.
yeah, I'm you know I'm keeping hope, but um, uh, but you know, switching back to Giz, you know, so like Cookie's he's written a bunch of different Giz songs, and it seems like most of them were from the earlier days. Um, but of all the, I mean, because like obviously you were a King Gizzard fan first, right?
Yes,
Okay,
2015.
okay. So what was it that got you into that got you into King Giz?
So when I got into King Gizzard, I was already like a huge follower of ATO Records, especially since like Les Claypool and all of his stuff was on that label.
Uh-huh.
So I started really following that label, especially on like YouTube and Instagram. And I remember there was a post about like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard announce album Paper Mache Dream Balloon, and I was like, this band name is so convincing. And they were, I think they dropped Trapdoor first. I can't entirely remember.
Mm-hmm.
But I listened to it. I was like, oh my god, what did I just hear? This is like the best thing I've ever heard. And yeah, I listened to it, and I really liked it. And so I had to listen back. I had to listen to all the earlier stuff, and I was hooked. That really hooked me into the band.
I mean, Paper Mache for like a solid 2 months, that was all I was listening to.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is such a, because like it reminded me of why I loved the Beatles so much as a kid. Because like the Beatles were my first favorite band. Like I got into them when I was like 6 or so, and like I just researched the hell out of them. Like I had, you know, only child syndrome to a max. So like I basically was a walking Wikipedia page for the Beatles, like
That's awesome.
in like the late 90s. And and like I just played all their vinyl and stuff. And like there was just, you know, like they just hit such a note with me that I was like I all of a sudden I was feeling that again with King Gizzard and Paper Mache, because it sounds a lot like, you know, a Beatles album, like kind of like a nice hybrid between the Beatles and Jethro Tull, you know, in my opinion, and and I was just like, I can't stop. This is great, and especially with Time Equals Fate, it's just such a sweet, simple, and also really insightful song. But it's so drastically different from like the rest of what they do. So like when Nonagon came out, what was your take with like their harder stuff?
I was shocked because I already kind of expected it when I heard like I'm in Your Mind Fuzz and stuff like it, but I was also used to listening to Quarters all the time and
Mm-hmm.
Paper Mache and their early stuff, and I was like, wow, this is a lot, and I was obsessed with it. And when it came out, it was my favorite album of that year period, because not a lot of stuff came out really in 2016, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was hooked on Nonagon, and the best song on Nonagon is Wah Wah. Anyone who thinks otherwise, fight me.
I mean, I'm not gonna fight you, but like I'm personally, I'm pretty partial to Evil Death Roll.
Okay, that's a great song too.
I mean, because like I always knew it was a good song, but like it wasn't until I saw them play it last year in Central Park that I was like, oh wait, like it just hit on such a different level for me, since I had never seen them play it live, and like because Joey introduced it, he just said Evil Death Roll, and then everybody just went ape shit, and I was like, oh wait, we're in for something here. And
Sweet.
yeah, and especially when they, you know, when they do that little breakdown into Invisible Face, and then come back with the Evil Death Roll, it's just like, oh god, like just seeing that live is just such a it's like an out of body experience.
Oh yeah, no, that's definitely for sure. That's amazing. I wish I went to that show.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a good show. I was a little bummed by it because like I was sitting in the bleachers with my friends who were going, and like we got these people sitting behind us who were just talking the entire time, and like they're like these like late 40s or early 50s people from New Jersey, just like you could just tell like during the day they were working in like garbage disposal or something, and they just had like the thickest accents, and we're just talking a whole bunch of shit about King Gizzard. Like I don't know why they were even there. It made no sense.
Annoying.
Yeah, and so finally I was like, I got to get out of here, and like I just went like I you know elbowed my way into the pit.
Sweet.
just to enjoy the rest of the show. But yeah, it was a great set list. I love that show. So how many times have you seen Giz?
I've only seen King Gizzard twice, which is it's kind of sad.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, so when did you first see them?
I saw them in 2018 at the Royale. I've always wanted to see them for literally 5 years. Like 5 years ago, I wanted to see them, but obviously I was too young. They were playing places that were like 18 and up, and I wasn't 18. So I literally had to wait till I was 18 to go see King Gizzard,
Oh,
which is
man.
really sad. I
Yeah.
know.
Oh man, that's one thing that I hate about, like, or that I really didn't like about live music when I was growing up, because like I've always been a fan of live music, but like the only shows I was able to go to were festivals, and which were like really expensive, and I would have to go with my dad, which, like, luckily he's good with music, so so like he took me to see, like he took me to Ozfest, so I was able to see Black Sabbath and Iron Maiden back in
Cool.
2005. So I was like 15 then, and that was cool. But it's just like I wasn't able to see like more contemporary bands play like club shows and stuff. But
Right.
so I never gained like a real appreciation for live music until like until I was in my 20s, and yeah, and most recently, the last couple of years with Giz, and and just seeing, like, because like Giz really exposed me to like all the contemporary psych music that's going on, and it just like gave me new life, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, all the neo psych stuff. That's like that's some of the best music to be coming out right now.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, so like outside of because like outside of Giz, I guess it was actually not even Giz that got me like sort of aware that that there was contemporary psych music, because like are you familiar with the Black Angels?
I never listened to them, to be honest.
Okay.
Sadly.
Yeah, well, I mean, so like I only heard them for the first time when I was at a sushi restaurant, and it just came over the PA, and I was like, whoa, this sounds really cool. So I asked the guy at the counter, like, hey, would you mind telling me who's playing? And they're just like, oh yeah, Black Angels. So I just like looked them up, and then saw that they were playing in Brooklyn like a month from then. So I was like, I'll go see them. And
Oh, sweet.
oh my God. And then I saw them live, and I was like, this is great. Like, all of a sudden I found new music, and I'd forgotten like how amazing it feels to actually like find new shit. And yeah. And then I guess 7 months, or I guess like a year later, I found Giz.
Nice.
But yeah, it's so like what are some of your some other bands that like psych bands you've been recommending, or you've been listening to?
Lately I've been into that band Loudness War that one of my friends showed me, and I didn't listen to them until like a month later. They're really great.
Where are they from?
I don't know. I kind of just bought their records and merch and just like supported them.
That's cool.
Another band that I really, really recommend to everyone, which they're like my favorite like current band, is Frankie and the Witch Fingers.
I've heard of them, and like, yeah, so like these are bands that I'm going to be listening to later today. Yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, what is it about Frankie and the Witch Fingers that that like hits you?
Well, like first of all, they dropped a single called T, and I'm like a T fanatic, and I instantly became like addicted to that song. That's when I discovered them. It was like through Spotify for You or something like that. Like it was new releases for You, and I listened to it, and I was like, yo, this is awesome. And then I listened to their whole back catalog, and I really love Brain Telephone. That album is totally influenced by the Texas sounds, psychedelia, and they're just amazing. I've seen them 3 times, and they're like literally some of the best live music out there right now as well. I definitely recommend them to anybody who's listening. and to you, especially if you haven't heard them.
Yeah, I will definitely take this to heart.
And
I
that new OC's album also is just like perfect.
Oh yeah, I forgot they came out with a new album.
Protein Threat.
Yeah, I haven't listened to it yet. Yeah, I saw that it came out and then I just completely forgot. Uh, but yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check that out. And that's interesting with like the Texas sound, because like like I know just a minute ago I said like I didn't really gain appreciation for live music until I was in my 20s, but the truth is, like when I was in high school, like I used to go to Austin every summer, for a music camp where like I would like it was like a 2 week thing. It was a sleepover camp, so like we break off into we break off into bands and rehearse during the days, and then in the evenings we go out to see like different live music all over the place, like all over Austin and stuff. So getting exposed to like real Texas roots, like country, blues, rockabilly, and then also some like psych stuff and punk rock.
Sweet.
And the first gig I ever played there, I guess it was 2004 at the Alligator Grill. Rocky Erickson was in the audience, so
Oh,
like
that's awesome.
it was just like, oh my god, like, it was so cool because there's a picture of him sitting there because like he's just has this look of shock on his face because the like whatever kid band was playing, they were playing a 13th Floor Elevator song, and like I think they were playing "You're Gonna Miss Me," and he just has like this whoa look on his face, and then sitting behind him is my dad. So it's yeah, it's just like a fun, just like a cool little factoid. But
That's awesome.
yeah, I mean, like the Texas sound is something that a lot of people somehow don't. I like a lot of people do know about it, but like not enough people do. It seems like, um, yeah, there's just a lot of mystery and just intrigue behind it, I think.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Yeah. Have you listened to Particle Kid at all?
No, I don't know what that is.
Okay, so Particle Kid, he's he's Willie Nelson's son, but he
Okay.
plays it's like a psych act. Um,
Oh, I think I've heard of this. I have heard of this on like a fan page somewhere. Someone posted it,
yeah,
but I never listened.
yeah, you probably have heard of it because he, I mean, he's in the know with the with the industry. His dad's Willie Nelson, but he gets booked on like I think he played Desert Days last year, and I think he's pretty much a regular thing on like the Levitation Festival,
Hmm.
and which those are two festivals I really want to go to, and I hope that they come back after we're all
I
done with
hope they
this.
do too.
Oh man.
Levitation. I just won like the signed Protein Threat from Levitation, so I thank you, Levitation.
Yeah. Um, oh man, this is you're saying earlier like you're a huge fan of tea. I was thinking like, man, if you like tea, you must love hot water. Like
Yes.
what? I mean, so you strike me as being someone that's more into like the King Gizzard, like the mellower stuff, but
Yes.
at the same time, it's like you're also like definitely digging Some of Us. What was your take on like Infest the Rat's Nest and
Infest the Rat's Nest. It's probably one of my least favorite King Gizzard albums, but it reminds me of childhood because I was shown lots and lots of thrash metal music. That's what I grew up listening to. It just was like, whoa, Slayer King Giz album. And my coworkers don't like it, so I can't play it in the store ever.
yeah.
Because they'd be like, nope, no Slayer King Gizzard. But yeah, it just was like a big like throwback for me. Definitely reminded me of my childhood. I liked it because of that. It was nostalgic in a way, but it's just not my favorite because I totally grew out of that type of music.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. I mean, honestly, it was like I think it is for me one of my top five kids albums. Um, but and like be, in a way because it is a little nostalgic because like I went through a very brief like screamo metal phase when I was like a freshman in high school. Like I was listening to Slipknot because like I do think like their first album Iowa was actually really good. Um, but
Oh, so not self-titled's pretty good too.
oh yeah
Or I think it's the red cover. I don't remember.
yeah I think yeah it's been like 15 years but it brought me back to like the days of where I was just like just pinch harmonics was my kryptonite and like I just loved that. And then they sort like King Giz kind of brought that back just with like with like their psychedelic delay setting, you know, their delay effect that they use, you know, like Venusian One and Mars for the Rich and stuff. And like part of that just like hit me in sort of that same way that I was hit like 15 years ago that I really liked. And I don't know, I guess it was also because it was Giz that it just felt right. I was like, all right, cool. They're getting me out of my comfort zone a little. And I always like that. So, yeah, that was fun. But, I did like it better than Fishing for Fishies. That like,
Oh, I
even
love
though
fishing.
like, I love a lot of the songs on the album, but it's just like, in terms of like sitting down and listening to that album, I find it's a lot harder to do than it is to do with like, you know, Paper Mache or Sketches or like Nonagon. But what was your take on? So you really enjoyed Fishing for Fishies?
Yes, this thing is like one of the best King Gizzard songs, I think, personally. Underrated.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Because like this thing was one of the I mean like that was, you know, one of the main Joey songs on that album.
Hmm.
I mean, did Joey might have even written that himself, but and then he obviously did like the second part, you know, the ending of Acarine, which I thought was like, yeah, I think that's my favorite song on the album. But this thing and how it goes into Acarine is like just one of my favorite
Yes,
sequences.
it is great. It is great. I love that album.
Yeah,
I don't.
I sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I mean, I don't really think there is a bad King Gizzard album, except for it's weird that Oddments is probably my least favorite, even though it has Cookie.
Yeah, I mean, Oddments is like that seems to be in sort of like a class of its own
It's
in
just
terms
kind
of,
of weak.
yeah. I mean, because like that was basically, you know, Gumboot 1.0, just like it was a bunch of throwaway tracks that didn't really fit on, you know, any one album. So they're just like, all right, Oddments. But I mean, there are some really great songs on there though. Like, I mean, obviously, Crying, if we're gonna be partial to Cookie. Um, but like also Homeless Man and Adidas, I really like.
That is
Um,
a great track.
yeah, I mean that, and also like It's Got Old, Work This Time. But I mean, yeah, like there's just a lot on there that I like as, you know, sort of individual tracks. But I totally feel what you're saying is an album. It's kind of weak.
Yes. Well, they've obviously grown, but one of those demos is a crying demo.
Yeah, I because like that was from Cookie's. Was that Cookie and Stu's first band, or was that just Cookie's first band, like when he
Um,
was in high school?
I believe that was Cookie and Stew, but I think this might be another take of crying. I can't entirely remember. It's just whoever tagged it did tag it as Pipe Eye, and it was the stuff that was on a MySpace page, I believe,
Hmm.
that someone just posted on YouTube casually,
That's cool. Yeah,
which I don't know who posted it.
I mean, you know, not a lot of heroes are anonymous, so it's
Yes, whoever that poster was, you are a hero. Thank you.
you know, I honestly I think the thing that was missing from Fishing for Fishies for me was just like a Cookie song. Like
Yes.
we didn't have one.
Yes.
Like we got, you know, like we got a like sort of Plastic Boogie was a little bit Ambrose, and then obviously the Cruel Millennial. But it just, and then we got this thing from Joey, and along with the, you know, electronic part of Acarian. Like I was like, Cookie, where are you? Like,
Yeah, where is he? Like that would have been a perfect fit for a Cookie song on that record.
yeah, I mean, and like I do appreciate that. I mean, I guess it is kind of a best case scenario for an album that doesn't have Cookie prominently on it. Just that, like in the Fishing for Fishies music video, we get to see him wave at the gator, and like that's really sweet. Like
Yes.
I thought that was nice and
Yes.
wholesome.
That is very wholesome.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, because like the gator for me is probably my favorite part of the Giz verse. Like it was because like I it was at their second show I ever saw Giz do in Brooklyn in 2018. They played the river all the way through,
Sweet.
and like I was on mushrooms, and like I saw the and so like I was getting really into the video since I'd somehow never seen it before. And because like I guess I hadn't really done a deep dive on Giz before I saw them live. But it was yeah, I mean, like just the gator hit me on such a level. I was like, this is my favorite thing. What's
Yes.
so like of all the, you know, Jason Galea artwork and stuff, what's been some stuff that's like really jumped out at you as some of your favorite?
Sketches. Sketches is definitely a favorite.
Yeah.
It's definitely an underrated piece of his work. But I just love the collage and stuff like that. It's just very nice and just great to look at. And one of the best King Gizzard albums.
Yeah. I mean,
Sketches.
I've like I think that's my favorite album to throw on in the morning, just like when I'm making breakfast, when I'm making my coffee and stuff, because it's like it's just very mellow, but like also just super interesting. Because like because when it came out, like there was a lot of vitriol around it. Like people were just like, what is this? Like people,
hmm
it became the butt of every joke on the fan page, and like I admittedly I wasn't feeling it at all for like the first 6 months that I was, you know, into King Giz, and then something changed and I started getting into jazz, so I liked it more. Um, but what's like what was your take on it? Like, did you love it
Um,
right from the get go?
when it came out, it was one of the only ones from 2017 that I did not write a review about, but I wanted to, obviously. But it is it is definitely one of my favorites. When it came out, I appreciated it a lot because I've been listening to music not like that, but you know what I mean. Like I liked my more mellow type music. I don't know. It's just when I heard "Dusk to Dawn" on Lygon Street again, that's Cookie stole my heart at that moment.
Yeah,
Again,
I mean, it's such a beautiful bass line.
it
Um,
is.
yeah, I mean, do you know if Cookie plays that on the record, or was that Lucas? That
I don't know, and I don't have the record on hand to check right now.
Yeah, I have it in the other room. I'll I'll check later. But yeah, but it just has that like you could just tell with that bass line that Cookie wrote that, because he's just got like some of the most. I mean, like I'll say this I'll never stop saying this. Like I think Cookie's just got some, like he's basically got all of the whimsical parts of King Giz. Like I think that's
Yes.
him. Like he's the guy just throwing on the magic, and the rest is, you know, everybody else's imagination. But like it's yeah, he's just got such an interesting, really indescribable. Like I don't know what it is. It's so hard to put your finger on it, but it's just he's got such a touch that's like it's just really heartwarming. Like whenever you hear those bass lines, because he also works them into his stuff with the Murlocs, and I like that a lot. And
Yes, love that. I love his work with the Murlocs. It's just great.
Yeah, well, and actually, you're probably a little more familiar with the Murlocs than I am, because like I've only recently, been exploring them. Because like their last album that came out, Manic Candid Episode, is like that's really the one that got me into them. Like I that's my favorite of theirs that I've heard. Um, but uh, but what is it? Like what do you think? Where do you think in the Murloc stuff, Cookie can be heard best?
Um, I I have to think that because it's been a while since I listened to the Murlocs myself. I have all their records except for Loopholes, obviously.
Mhm.
But I don't know where my opinion is on that. Like I think the most solid is Young Blindness. That album really helped me throughout a really hard time in my life. So I that one I guess is definitely the most powerful to me.
Mhm.
But
Yeah. Well, I mean that's really cool. I mean, because like that's one thing that I love about music is like I do associate different songs or different albums, different artists, whatever, with specific times in my life. Like it's like whatever I'm listening to at that moment, just in my memory becomes a soundtrack. Um,
yes.
and yeah, I mean, like, so King Gizzard really got me out of like, it helped me get out of like a soul crushing job, working in like the financial district in New York. That was just like, like I felt like I was just kind of robbed of life in my mid-20s. And so like here
Hmm.
I am, like, 30 in the middle of a pandemic, and I'm just like, I'm not wasting any time. Like we're gonna enjoy this shit because like I just, like I always King Gizzard sort of gave me my lust for life back. And
Sweet.
it was, yeah, it's just sort of cool. Like that's sort of why they mean as much as they do. Um, but yeah, and I don't know. I think that's one thing where like that makes Time Equals Fate such a pivotal song in my life. Is just like I was listening to the lyrics because like it's such a simple guitar riff, chord progression, where it really makes you listen to the words, and those are like some of the most important words I think anybody can hear. Because it's just like, don't dwell on the past. Like you like don't worry about dying either, because ultimately your fate is what you do with your life. And I'm just like, whoa, that just like shifted everything for me.
Exactly.
But yeah, I'm gonna have to give Young Blindness another listen, because it's been a while since I've put it
Yeah.
on.
That was definitely one of my favorite albums. That came out 2017, I think, if I remember
Yeah.
correctly. But yeah, that is just such a great album. It definitely like helped me, especially like yeah, it was just a really hard time in my life right there. Uh,
Yeah, I mean, you're probably in like high school or something, right?
I'm not in high school. No, I
Well,
graduated 2 years ago.
right,
So
but like then when
oh
you're
yes.
like at that point, yeah. Yeah. um
Yes, I was in high school and my life was pretty much ruined at this point. Like there was I guess I had like a stalker. He was trying to ruin my life pretty much.
oh
I
geez,
guess
that
he
wow,
tried
yeah,
to
that
ruin my life.
well,
Thank you,
fuck that
King
dude.
Gizzard. Yeah, yeah, for real. Like, yeah, just this is just great. Like King Gizzard, Murlocs, Pipe Eye,
Mhm.
especially Cookie saved my life. Like, if I wasn't listening to them, I don't know where I'd be right now.
Yeah, well, that sounds really cool and serendipitous, like, you know because like I've the more I've lived life, the more I've sort of seen just how much there is like a push and pull. Like what like there's ultimately going to be an equalizer with any like shitty thing you're going through. It's going to be met with something amazing, and just the same that'll be met with like a crushing
Music.
loss. And then it's just like, it's just for me, it's just been like just sort of trying to figure out how to like really, I guess, sort of let myself down easy, or pick myself back up in a way that's like, all right, this is just temporary. Yeah. And I honestly feel like Cookie is just the more you vibe with Pipe Eye and just like with his songs specifically, it's like the more nuanced you become with life. Like I just, maybe that's just me being like, overly spiritually or kooky, but pun intended. Yeah, it's like, I don't know what I'm saying. I don't know how to wrap up that sentence.
That's okay. Yeah, no, I totally get it. It's like Pipe Eye pretty much, he just says this one message, laugh about life.
Yeah. And also because like, yeah, when I started listening to that album, that was in 2018, which is the year that I ultimately decided I was quitting my job and then, deciding to turn my sights to stand-up comedy. So I was like, well, the reason I'm doing that is because like I want to laugh about life. Like, why wouldn't Cookie be my favorite of King Gizzard? Because like,
Yes.
I don't know. I think like Cookie is so funny in his own right. Like he's so perceptive that I just feel like I compare him to Seinfeld like all the time, because like it's just such, like he just picks up on like the littlest things and just like turns them into something that's either amusing or hilarious or sort of sad. But it always just picks me up and just makes me go, huh, yeah, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, no, that is really just like, that is like, well, very well said.
Thanks.
But yeah, like, yeah, never waste your time doing a shitty job. Like I learned that. I learned that quick, especially when I got asked to work at the record store. That was like the best day of my life.
Yeah. And so how is it working at the record store? Like now during a pandemic, like have you guys reopened for in-person business, or is it just like pickup now, or?
So I did not work there for about 3 months because of the shutdown,
Mhm.
but they eventually opened for curbside in May, and which that was when the state said that, hey, you could do curbside pickup, and
Mhm.
we were pretty much doomed at this point. And then in June we opened again, and luckily the store is on a very tourist like attraction type street, like on a
Oh,
main
that's
street,
good.
and so customers flock in. Sadly, there is no I don't know if there's like a limit on how many people we can have, but because of the pandemic, people are buying records like crazy. Like there
Yeah.
is a, especially since people are at home, they could invest in a nice sound system and records to like show their kids and listen to music, and it's just beautiful.
Yeah, right. I mean, like, because in addition to the sound quality of records, like, there's just that aesthetic of, like, because it's such an involved process of like putting this huge piece of vinyl on a turntable that's hooked up to a stereo. Like, there's so many different parts to it. Like, it feels like an accomplishment when you're just listening to a record. Like, it's really like sort of a symbiotic thing to me. Um, like
It's
it
I
gives,
it's precious listening
yeah,
to a record.
like it just gives me more like excitement about what I'm listening to than if I'm just hooking my Spotify up to the aux cord. Like it, it just feels so tacky by comparison.
Well, yeah, and plus it's like even with just listening to music on your phone or through Spotify, you could skip songs, and with a record you can, but it's like you don't want to.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Because like I don't know, like I love the in between. Uh, like just like when you hit that next groove before the next song, and you just hear like a little bit of popping coming from the groove. Like I just love that. It's just like, cool. I feel like I'm at home. Like it sort of sounds like
Yes.
you have a fire going. uh but yeah, I just love, I mean, because like I recently got a record player, and I decided to grow my vinyl collection, because I initially just bought like I'm in Your Mind Fuzz as my first Giz record, because or I guess I bought Quarters. Yeah, Quarters and Mind Fuzz is my first kids records because they weren't on Spotify. Or like Mind Fuzz was, but there were a few tracks that were skipping. So I was like, I'm just
Yes.
gonna buy it, get the drop card, and just have my own playlist and listen to that. So I can actually listen to Satan Speeds Up without any any skips. Um, and yeah, so then I was like, maybe I should invest in a record player and a stereo and stuff. And then the pandemic hit, and I was just like, I'm just gonna get a bunch of records. So just been ordering from Flightless. Got the new Leah Senior album, which I absolutely love. If you haven't
I
listened to
love
it,
that album. I love
oh,
that one.
I mean, she's just such a, like, I thought it was such a cool thing for them to include her on a Murder of the Universe and Polygon Dwanaland. And then, because at first I was like, oh, they must have just gotten like just a friend of theirs, or maybe she's a voice actress or something, because excellent narrator. And then it's like, no, she's a singer songwriter and actually really fantastic. So
Yes. And did you get the Beans album, or?
I didn't know.
I just bought it, but I'm having trouble with like the company that I'm buying it from Australia or something like that. But that, I think, is the best Flightless like album release this year is Beans.
Yeah, because like I listened to that album a few times, on Spotify, and I've enjoyed it. But obviously, it is a very different listening experience, as we discussed on vinyl.
It's definitely retro in sound, like totally 70s. It's just great.
Yeah, I mean, I really like Matt Block, and just like, I don't know, that's one thing that I just love about all the Flightless bands, is just how much like cross-pollinating there is.
Yes.
It's just like the whole thing is very egoless to me, and I just love that. And also, like, I think Matt Block is a great singer and good songwriter, and just a really well-versed musician. But I was a little disappointed that they changed their name from Baked Beans to Beans. I didn't understand. I didn't understand that. Like, why?
It just doesn't make sense to me either. It's like, yeah, I don't know, because I couldn't explain that one either. I just noticed it one day on Facebook that it was called Beans, and I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, it's like what were they worried that like baked beans made it sound like they were too much of a stoner or something? Like,
I have no idea, to be honest. I could not answer that. We'd have to meet them and ask them themselves.
Yeah, well, I just hope they listen to some Primus, Frizzle Fry, and then the next album is Refried Beans. I think that would be that would be sort of satisfactory.
That would be great. Yeah, Frizzle Fry is totally classic.
Yeah, I mean, like, once you said you were like a Claypool fan, I was just like, oh, cool. So like, it makes sense you like some harder stuff, like, because Primus is one of, like, that was one of my favorite bands to see live. I got to see him once when I was in high school. It was really cool.
Sweet, yeah, because their last record was totally like bad.
That's too bad. I didn't hear it.
Oh no.
Yeah, I mean, because like early Primus obviously was amazing. It was so silly and very, very just straight up 90s. And then like it seemed like once indie pop came out, like that's sort of when they took like a turn, for me at least.
Yeah, well, I like anti-pop.
Yeah, I mean, I like it, but it was just like when I got to that point in their discography, I was like, okay, wait, so this is like when they really achieved like that commercial success, and like, and as with any band in the 90s achieving commercial success, like they will just sort of run that into the ground eventually. Like it pretty much happened with them all. And it doesn't mean they can't refine themselves again, but
I totally agree with you there. It's like that pattern you see a lot, and usually a lot of these bands, they just ruin themselves. I'm really hoping King Gizzard do not get a commercial like take on them. I would I would lose my mind.
Yeah, honestly, I really don't think they will, and so honestly, I that's why I'm sort of happy with Eric's decision, because like I think that that's ultimately a testament to that he's investing for the long haul in the band being a completely independent artist run type of thing, and by focusing on Flightless, I think he's going to inspire that with other bands and basically I have a feeling he's going to wind up courting like those bigger name bands that would just rather be on a label that supports their their artistry rather than like their hits.
Yes,
You know,
exactly. No, I
yeah,
totally agree with you. That's a great thought about that. Because yes, the loss of Eric is sad, but like Flightless is just it's just gonna be it's gonna blossom into something beautiful. We just all have to wait, be patient with them.
yeah, and also again back to like King Gizzard being sort of a cult, like it's kind of like Eric is now our Jesus because
Yes.
he left for the sake of everybody's music. um Hopefully that's the case. And but like also once I like had that thought, you know, the other day, like I was thinking like he does also kind of look like the Jesus caricature from South Park, like I just sort of love that about Eric. And I don't know, and like the more that like my ADD brain just like thinks about that and like extrapolates on it, I'm just just thinking like, yeah, like I wonder if Jesus actually was just as soft spoken as Eric is, and like maybe even more glasses. Like,
Hey, maybe.
uh, no, but no, it's a lot of fun to think about. Like, if there's anything we've learned from Giz, it's just to like trust the process. You know, like they've always made the right decision. Like I don't think they've ever messed anything up. And at
No,
this
I
point,
totally agree.
yeah, it's like at this point, why not just trust that it's going to work out? um, but I think we'll wrap up soon. But before I let you go, I just wanted to see is there anything else that's been on your mind, Cookie or Giz related, music related, that's been on your mind that we haven't talked about yet?
Um, uh, I honestly do not know. Like, um, I don't know. Just hoping for some new pipe eye, obviously, because we might get it because everyone's all quarantined right now. So these bands are gonna be cranking stuff out.
I mean, it does seem that like if just on principle you put Cookie in quarantine and you're gonna get a really good result. Like, because
I hope these demos come out on a record or something. Like that would be really cool.
yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I
Even
mean,
those King Giz demos should be on a record.
yeah, I mean it is interesting to me. Like just with the pandemic, it's gotten a lot of people sort of exploring new projects and like just sort of like I think a lot of people, especially artists, have like found themselves somewhat of a crossroads. Just like, hey, maybe I should like invent something new, or like just try new things. And it would be interesting, just in this whole age of like rediscovering what you love, if people like did like if there is some hobbyist out there at least who's like into pressing his own wax and stuff, if he decides to, or she or they, whoever decides to press like these old unreleased tracks on the vinyl, like that would just be such a cool project. You could probably get crowdfunded. I mean, it's the possibilities are endless.
Yes, I agree. It's a great idea if King Gizzard or Eric hears this or something. Like, yo, press those demos.
Yeah, I mean, because
Free money.
it seriously is. It's like they know that at this point it almost doesn't matter what they put out. Like obviously they want to maintain that artistic credibility, but like at the same time they should know that whatever they put out and slap a cover on, like people will buy it. It will sell out.
Exactly.
Make that bread, Eric. It's
It's free
um,
money.
exactly. But anyway, Abby, thank you so much for coming on the
Oh yeah,
podcast. I'm glad we were finally able to do this. And yeah, I wish you the best in all of your endeavors artistically and professionally and all that. I think it's really cool
thanks.
what you're doing.
Yeah, you too. Like, good luck on the podcast. Like, it's beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.